Coach Brown.
Coach Fred Callio, WLKY. A bunch of players in the Pac-12 are balking at playing. It came out yesterday. The new season is scared about the virus, and they have a variety of other issues, including the Black Lives Matter movement, and they're feeling that they're unequally taking the brunt of all of this. Are your players good with playing? Has there been any pushback at all? Where does this all sit with them right now?
I think our players are doing a good job of, expressing themselves and having conversations with, people on the staff. We'll have a meeting later on today as well with some of our guys, just how we do always. Just, want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. And our guys are good, man. I mean, they're ready to get rolling. They're excited about the season. They're excited about, coming out and making this team better than what it was last year, especially on the defense side of football. But our guys excited to get going. They're excited to get here today. We start, meetings and things today and start practice tomorrow. So they're ready to get after it.
Bryan, Russ Brown, Kentucky Today. To follow up on Fred's question, as a former player, what's your opinion of all that?
Players are the guys that are playing games, and we're coaches that are coaching games. We've always said our players have the platform to be able to speak out and voice their opinions. It's just a different day and time from when I played to now. With social media and things of that nature, and all the things that are going on in this country, that you just you really don't know what to think. We want what's best for our players. We want what's best for our universities. We want to, make sure that we're doing everything in our power to help those guys succeed on and off the football field, and most importantly, getting a degree. That's the main and most important thing that we tell our guys. When we're bringing them here to a university, you got to get your education. And so with those things going on, it's just it's sad to see. As far as how it's going about it, but our players have a voice, and we let those guys voice their opinions.
Could you have imagined anything like that happening when you played?
I could not. I could not, just because like I say, the social media aspect of it is it's helping push a lot of these things that these players feel, and I just couldn't see a lot of the things going on now in today's game, going on back when I played.
Coach, this is Matt McAvick with Sports Illustrated. Kind of piggybacking off of the last two questions, there have been a decent amount of players, both in the professional and collegiate ranks, deciding to opt out for the upcoming season due to the COVID-19 concerns. Do you anticipate anyone on Louisville's team doing so?
I have no idea. These kids, if that's something that they want to do, I'm pretty sure that Coach Satterfield and will have some type of answer for those guys and give those guys that option. But as of right now, I do not see any of those guys opting out.
Bryan, hey, it's Jody Dillon with Cardinal Authority. What do you think? You've got camp beginning tomorrow. I know it's been a crazy off season. It's been a crazy summer, but the fact that you're going to be out there with the guys and camp begins, what's the excitement level like for you? And what do you think it will be for the guys?
I'm excited. I'm excited to get back to football. I think our guys are excited as well. I think the other day with, not the actual schedule, but who you're playing coming out, I think that it had a little bit more motivation, for those players as well as coaches as well. Now you kind of know who you're going to play. And now needs to come, what's that actual date, So I think the guys are so pumped up, man. I mean, from the workouts last week, they were getting after it, man, and they're excited, man. I just really think they're excited to be able to build off what we did last year, ended with the Music City Bowl win and those 7 practices we had in the spring. They're excited to get back out there and just play some football and hopefully, be able to help, some of the things that are going on in this world.
I'm from Cardinal Authority. You've mentioned that, hopefully making the defense better this year. When you look at your squad, obviously you got a lot of veterans coming back. Is there a certain spot, defensive front, linebacker, secondary, or is it in general that you think needs to make another step to get to help allow the defense to get another level up?
Well, I think it's just overall the whole defense in general. This being year number 2. These guys have had it. Same coordinator and back-to-back years. So I think it was critical for us to, take that next step with those guys not making a lot of changes to the defense, coming into this year. So I think this, just overall standpoint, just the whole defense from a defensive line standpoint, and being able to, control the gaps up front and to be able to, rush the passer and getting some pressure on the quarterback, to the linebackers fitting their gaps correctly and making tackles when they're in the backfield, or to stop a 3-yard gain from going from a 3-yard to a 40-yard gain. In the secondary as well, being able to stop the pass and being able to get the guys down on the ground to not allow those big plays that we saw a good bit of last year. So overall, in general, just the whole defense, us as coaches, as well as the players as well, just continue to get better each and every day.
Hey,
Bryan, this is
Cameron.
with WHAS 11. Do you anticipate, because there was so much talk and small groups and workouts and all this talk and social distancing, that when you guys do ramp it up in camp, maybe kind of feeling their way a little bit, or may ease into this thing just a touch?
Yeah, what we wanted to do, these last couple of weeks of these walkthroughs, it was kind of trying to gear up to that, kind of easing those guys into it. And then now we'll go on some 11 on 11 type stuff. We hadn't had any 11 on 11, since we've been back. But that was our goal, is to try to, put things in incrementally and not go 11 on 11 and ramp it up right off the bat. And I think, with the constrictions and with the COVID thing, I think they're kind of, getting back to, where they were previously. Obviously, it won't be the exact same, just with the, with the amount of cases and things that are going on, not just within the state, but this within the country. It'll be in the back of the mind a little bit, but hopefully we can ease that with all of the restrictions and things that we're doing here. And I think we're doing an outstanding job of taking care of these guys, making sure they're wearing the mask and having card heads on, multiple seats where they can and cannot sit. I think our staff has done an outstanding job of helping these guys with the social distancing while they're here. I think this is no doubt one of the safest places they can be, since we're doing all the testing and things of that nature. So hopefully that'll ease their mind as we continue to go on.
Hey, Bryan, Cameron from the Courier Journal. When you look at the secondary, you bring back, specifically at your position group, defensive back, a lot of experience with those guys. Just when you kind of go into the offseason, what's something you kind of preach to them that you feel like they need to improve to take that next step this season?
Well, I think the number one thing is, Cameron, is that these guys just need to have confidence within themselves to be able to make some plays. It was a lot of times last year that we were right there and just didn't make that play. And I think, from our standpoint of looking at some of the big plays and things that happened in the secondary, some of it was missed tackles and some of it was just a slight alignment here or there that caused some big plays to happen. And so our guys just need to, no doubt, just focus on, number one, their assignment. Number two, what is my alignment and things of that nature to make sure that I can execute this call. And number three, just making plays and having confidence within themselves that they can make that play.
A follow-up to that, you feel like you're a little deeper there than you were at this point last year?
A little bit deeper. We got numbers. We just don't have a lot of guys with a lot of experience. When you look at, the corner group, you have 3 guys that played last year, and outside of that, that's it, and then you look at, the safety group, you have, mainly 3 guys, and that's it, so we have numbers. We don't have true depth just yet with the experience back there in that back end. And that's something we look forward to. And I think, once the season continues to progress, we'll have a little bit of depth as far as guys knowing what to do and how to do it with the guys. What I mean by that, the 2s and 3s, on the depth chart, we'll be able to get some experience reps within fall camp as well as in games. So we'll develop that depth as we go on. Next year's class will no doubt help for sure with that depth. I think we'll be really, really deep come 2021.
Coach, this is Gary Graves from AP. Kind of following up on that, where did you see your guys become more, I guess you say, instinctive in terms of trying to create turnovers? I mean, were they cautious at first, and did you see some progress last year where they were taking more chances, really trying to come up with a turnover?
I think so. I think that's one of the things as a defensive back, you got to know when and when not to take chances. You know, where's my help? You know, when can I jump this route? What's the down and distance? You know, a lot of times last year we were off at 10 yards or so, 8 yards, and all they needed 6 yards for a first down. You know, just little things like that. Just understanding the actual game within the game. Understand it's 3rd and 10 and I can't give a lot of ground, or it's 4th and 10 and all I need to do is just get 11 yards. And, so I think just that mindset with those guys understanding when I can take chances. And last year, I think toward the end of the year, they started feeling like, okay, well, I can take a chance here and there. You saw in the bowl game, Chandler Jones had a couple of nice pass deflections, and he had one where he dove and shouldn't have. Because he didn't have any help, and we ended up giving up touchdown late in the Mississippi State game. So just understanding when and when not to take chances. That's the biggest things for our guys for sure.
Yeah. Have you seen
Coach,
this, from the guys up front as well? Trying
Excuse
to
me, I missed you.
like that.
Could you repeat that? I couldn't hear you. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Could you see that with the guys up front as well? Becoming more aggressive, trying to create fumbles as opposed to reacting.
I do. I think those guys, they played fast a little bit early on, and I think we had some injuries. And, once you have going throughout a season, it's a grind, so it's a long season. And that bowl game and, the last couple of games of the season, those guys really got after it a little bit and understanding where they actually fit. And I think that was key to being able to play fast. But now you know what to do, how to do it. Now let's try to create some turnovers and be in the pest at the football.
Coach, this is Kent Taylor from Wave TV. What was your initial reaction when you saw the new schedule, the new opponents, especially, I'm sure you all have spent some time preparing for an NC State team that's now not even on the schedule.
Yes, that was a little devastating not to be able to play NC State after you've been, preparing for them in spring ball and throughout this COVID, as well as Clemson, on top of that too, with them being the second game, doing all that work for those guys. But hey, it is what it is. We still have those type of game plans if we need to pull them out toward the end of the year for that championship game if we make it. But being able to see the schedule and seeing that you're playing, 10 ACC opponents, knowing that's going to be a rough task within itself. We were just excited to see that we actually had some teams to play. So we were excited about it, and seeing Miami back on the schedule from this year. From last year, and seeing a Georgia Tech added, a Syracuse added, and Pittsburgh added, those are teams that we were not getting ready to prepare for. So we had to start, trying to get our GAs to start breaking down some film so we can kind of get a little jump start on it now. And especially since because you don't know when you're going to play them. They may be the first game of the season. So trying to get a jump start on that early and knock some of these, game plans out for some of these opponents that we may play early.
Bryan, hey,
Bryan,
it's Jody again. I know Coach Ivy, and you guys like to rotate a ton of guys up front, and you did as many as you could last year. How do you feel about the depth up there, and with some of the new guys, how can they kind of fit in or work themselves onto the field?
Well, I think the defensive line, you have to be able to rotate those guys to keep them fresh for the whole season. If you just play your first and second group, those guys will be down, and then you're no doubt playing your 3s and 4s for sure. So I think our depth, the defensive line is a little bit better this year. With some of the guys that we recruited at that position, that was one of the main things we needed to do. And those guys, those young guys, hopefully they'll be able to give us some reps, and we'll see how they do this coming up fall camp. Some were here, in the spring and gave us some quality reps. But right now we have a good bit of those guys that were not here. Now they're here, and we're seeing some good things out of a couple of them. And so hoping that, they're able to play 6 games and be able to redshirt, or just playing 4 games and still be able to redshirt. So we plan on planning these guys, and hopefully we can use that as a redshirt year to be able to have them for 4 more years after this season. So we're continuing to hope that we continue to rotate like we did last year and the years before while we were at App State. But if not, we'll just have to adjust, especially with this COVID. You just don't know if, a kid may be out here or there. You have to have depth, and you have to develop these guys to be able to play.
As a follow-up, just not speaking line, but the entire defense. Do you feel like you're building or have enough depth where you can play a few of the guys 4 games and then sit them and not have to worry about playing them the rest of the year? Are you there yet?
I think up front a little bit we have a couple of those guys that we could possibly do that with. Linebacker wise, I don't think we're there yet. As well as secondary wise, I don't think we're there yet to be able to play all those guys in 4 to 6 games and be able to redshirt them. I think we can play a couple of them on special teams and redshirt, but we're not there yet. As I said earlier, I think with the 2021 class, I think we no doubt will be there with the depth wise and being able to play as many as we possibly can. And I think a lot of those guys may end up coming here and pushing for a starting role right away in next season.
Bryan, Cameron with the Courier Journal again. Obviously, the offense is getting a lot of hype because they bring back so many weapons. As a DC, when you're preparing for an offense that has weapons like you guys do offensively, how do you game plan around something like that without giving away how to stop Louisville's offense specifically, but just kind of how do you game plan to go against the offense with so many different weapons?
Well, you get on your knees every night. You ask the good Lord to help you. That's the first way. That's the first way. But no, when you're going against an offense like our offense, it has a lot of weapons. And I saw it on a daily basis where I was at Appalachian State. Practicing against those guys it was tough every single day. And but you have to do your due diligence to figure out, okay, who are their playmakers? How can we kind of limit those guys with their touches, whether that's on the outside with the receivers or in the run game? Do we need to run some different type of stunts to be able to make the quarterback run the football? Who do we want to have the ball in the hands, and how can we kind of manipulate them into what we want to get done? And so, those are the things that we look at very first and foremost. When you're preparing for a team like that, can we double here or there? Bring a little bit more pressure. What is it to be able to help stop the run game? So we try to look at all those things first. What are the top five running plays, passing plays, and go on from there. So. But we stay on our knees diligently to be able to pray every night to help have that good man above to help us. And we do it during the game too, so just let you guys know.
Bryan, it's Dominic with the Courier Journal. From now until the season starts, do you feel like the defense, you'll be able to throw in everything that you'll want to run before that season opener, and you feel like you'll still be on schedule from now until then?
I think we will. I think we'll be okay. With us having those 7 practices in, and like I said, we were able to, have the same defense. These guys will have be able to have the same defense for 2 years in a row. That helps, because your base is still your base. You throw a little bit of wrinkles here and there, and I think these guys will be able to pick it up. With a good bit of the guys returning. No doubt helps for sure that you can add in a couple more different things that you probably wouldn't have added in within the first year of your defense. And those guys are picking it up right away within these walkthroughs, within those 7 practices like we talked about in the spring, with all the meetings we had during the quarantine where the guys wasn't here. But yes, I think we'll be there to be able to put, more in before that first game.
Coach, this is Matt McGavin with Sports Illustrated again. Go ahead, Mike.
Go ahead, Matt.
Oh, okay. So, Matt McGavin with Sports Illustrated again. Between retaining all the players, retaining all the coaches, including yourself, and going up against a offense such as Louisville's in practice, how big of a jump do you think can the defense as a whole make from last season to this season?
Well, I think we can make a jump to be able to help us be better than we were last year. I think with the things these guys have dealt with a little bit is depth issues, and that's something that we continue to talk about, and that's what we have to continue to fill with, within this recruiting classes that we have this coming up year, the following year, to be able to kind of catch back up with the depth wise and the quality of players that we will, like to have here at Louisville. And once you got all those guys going into the portal, man, it's tough. You can't replace every last one of them, and that's one thing that hurt us coming in here. Not a lot of guys on this defensive side that were in the portal that could have been here, playing for us. So we're going to continue to strive to get better in recruiting, to be able to help us in the forefront to get to where we want to get to. And Rome wasn't built in one day, and we always say that. But we're going to continue to strive in the recruiting aspect of it. But I think this defense will be better than it was last year for sure. How better, I don't know just yet. We hadn't played a game, but I think we will be better than we were last year for sure.
Coach Michael McCammon and Cardinal Authority. Kind of on that note, you mentioned depth. How much are you leaning on these newcomers, the JC guys, the true freshmen, to really make an impact this year?
We're going to lean on them a good bit. we're going to throw them into the fire and see what these guys can do a little bit to be able to help us. And I think a lot of those guys are up for the challenge. You look at some guys, I just look at my position for sure. Greedy Vance, who's come from a program in New Orleans, Edna Carr, winning multiple championships, high school championships in back-to-back years, And I said to Blue in the face, he's probably one of the smartest recruits that I've ever recruited, from a standpoint of he can regurgitate and talk to you just like a normal coach would, and that's what you want. You want guys that have high football IQs that can come in and be able to help you right away on the field and off the field as well, to be able to help some of those guys in the meeting rooms. And, you look at a guy like him, a Desmond Tell, who's just gotten here, has done phenomenal, for Coach Ivy at the D-line front, So we're going to lean on him to play a little bit more. Same thing with Henry Bryan and all those defensive linemen that we have. And our linebacker core is as solid as they come with those first 4 to 5 to 6 guys. But the secondary, like I said, we're still building. And Lovey Jenkins is coming in, is doing some great things for us and continue to learn. He's still a freshman. But we're going to throw them in the fire and see what they do fall camp, and then we'll make plans accordingly throughout the whole season.
Bryan, hey, it's Jody again. You had 2 late additions in the last couple of weeks. Just can you kind of update what you expect from Clark and Cloyd when you get them kind of in the mix?
Well, one, Clark, I can talk about right now. The other, I can't, just because of NCAA rules with the scholarship not being done just yet. But Clark, for sure, I think he can, come in right away and help if he's able to get that waiver. He is one of the most athletic ones that I have already, right now, and sharp kid as well. And I think he'll provide immediate help, at that cornerback spot that we desperately need some backups behind. And with Chandler and Marlon and CJ, being the guys that have played a good bit at that position this past season within his defense. So he can provide immediate depth, and he's a guy that's, like I said, played at Liberty, but he's a Power 5 corner for sure.
Do you just prepare him like he's going to get, you don't know when he's going to get the waiver. It could come anytime. It could be, days or weeks. Do you just prepare him like he's going to play and then kind of hope that he does get that waiver?
Yes, I'm preparing him just like that. He's no different than, all the other guys that are in my room right now. I'm preparing for him, like he's going to get that waiver, and not saying, hey, I'm putting him to the back burner. You'll be a scout team guy, and we'll worry about you next year. No, we're preparing for him to play this year, and he's preparing to play this year, and hopefully we do get that waiver.
Anything else for Coach? All right. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate you guys. Thank y'all all.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
See y'all later.